Hi guys, quick update for the YouTube side of things. Now Bitcoin is in a very interesting spot. We're going to investigate here the much more bearish count, which is that this is a rising wedge. So there's some interesting developments here. We broke above the 200-day moving average, bear trap followed by a bull trap. Now this is looking a little bit dicey here. So we have no choice but to update the group with a more sort of cautious tone now. Certainly if this breaks down below 43,800 and invalidates this bullish daily candle here, it's going to go all the way to 42. Any breakdown below 42 at any time, that would be bearish, and that would entertain the fact that that's a rising wedge as part of a C wave, and we have more of a WXY correction, which I brought into the space a while ago. Now, and that basically gets you down towards 20,000, and this being a ABC, well, a WX ABC rising wedge. So it's incredibly complicated count here. So WXY into here, WXY into an X, and then we're going to go down. So this is the more bearish alternative. Okay, now this weekly candle saves itself and this doesn't fall down, then fine. But if it's a one-to-one correlation with this, well, that gets you towards 22,000. Okay, notice here there were actually rising wedges here, and I've been around long enough to know that rising wedges tend to fall down more than they do up. The volume does trend down in rising wedges 79% of the time, and the breakdown for a downward breakout is usually 67% of the distance from the start of the rising wedge all the way to the apex. While the apex is around here, that's 132 bars. So if you multiply that by roughly 67%, that gets you 88. 88 is around about here. So basically, it's broken down exactly where it should do, statistically speaking. Now, if this happens to be an expanded flat here short term, or a ABC, then it's okay. It'll bounce here. It'll be a bear trap again. Then we go higher. But if this is indeed a rising wedge, then this is going to fall down pretty hard. As you can see, volume is already starting to rise. Now, unfortunately, this move in Bitcoin could be a big move, only because that would be the end of the WXY here, and then that then brings into account a much more large move. So remains to be seen which of the two counts are going to be valid here. Like I said, any breakdown below 43k is going to be bearish. Any breakdown at any time below 42k, that's a closing of all positions. And well, rising wedges usually make their return to at least the start of the rising wedge, if not 61.8. So your first target would be 42k. But then if it goes down to 42k, surely this 1212, it's going to be invalidated. And this doesn't look like a wave 3 at all, the way it's overlapping here. So to me, given this recent price action today, I'm very interested to see how this weekly candle closes. If it ends up being a shakeout pattern around an area of obvious liquidity, which is basically these support levels here, then obviously that would then set up a very bearish move all the way back down again. So very interesting spot. We mentioned this on the last video. Bitcoin has to get above the 61.8. So this is why it's been so back and forth the last week or so, only because we're at a very important spot. We were bearish the whole way up here, then it went down, then we were bullish here for a short squeeze. Between 42 and 47k, it's been very difficult to call this market day by day, only because of so many interpretations. We're at the limit of where the bearish count is valid, but still that bearish count is leaning on by a thread, but it could still break down here. And if this breaks down, that could very well be quite a quick move down as well, because it's the end of a correction. So the last thing you want to do is go long at 47k and hold it all the way down to 20k. So the bearish count still remains valid. Now, you can have a look at as many coins as you like here, and some of them unfortunately do look as though, is that really impulsive? You convert it to a line chart, surely that looks corrective, and it's all down to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is really going to have a much more bearish interpretation, well, we're going to find out in the next, I would say, 72 hours, in which case, well, sorry, that's the wrong in which case, you know, we've got something like this going on. Okay, that gets you ETC back down to the VPOC. That's going to go to $11. Okay, that's just one of many charts. Litecoin, I've never really been a huge fan of. I don't believe it's a 1-2-1-2 starting from here. That doesn't really make any sense because this has invalidated into here. You know, that's a terrible bull trap. If this is indeed a bull trap, which I'm now beginning to believe, well, certainly by the end of the day, I will know one way or another. I mean, look at that. That is the fractal from 2016-18. It had this vicious bull trap here where it went from basically 98 all the way up to 252. This time around, it's gone from 105 to 183. Is that just a bull trap? Are we expecting all of this? So, unfortunately, this is just the way the stock market works. There are times when you can be bullish, times when you can be bearish, and times where you're not really too sure, so you have no choice but to go with more of a trading mentality. And right now, that doesn't look good. So the last thing we want to see right now is this breaking down, because I have a feeling that it might break down. Because if that's not impulsive, that's definitely corrective. Certainly all of this move appears to have some kind of corrective nature to it. I mean, you can see there's just too much overlap. So definitely going to be interesting price movements. Anyway, I just thought I'd do this quick update. If you want to join the group, then you can. If you want to pay via crypto, message me through the Facebook page. Be very careful what you do. Bitcoin can really bite when it does turn, so you don't want to really go into a drawdown here. If it is just a WXY to complete a larger X, well, as we know, everything occurs in 3s and 5s. So if that's a W, if that genuinely is an X, could we then get a big move down, which, well, you take your 1-to-1 April to May, well, that could be in. We could be in store for this right up until October now. Well, I would say up until Labor Day at least, maybe the next 4 to 6 weeks is now going to be down. Be very careful what you do. If you want to join the group, you can. I'll catch you guys soon.